what's up, guys? The long-awaited, what is this going to be?
The Garmin little bit of everything video.
All right, so you all know that Taylor right here, who's with me, he came down here. He was one who pretty much installed my entire boat, all the Garmins, all the batteries, trolling motor, you name it, he installed it. So he's come down here. I know it's taken a while. We already did the installation video. Go watch the video of installing a Livescope. He installed a Livescope from start to finish. So that's all on there if you wanted to check that out. This is going to basically be what he would do, because he did all my settings for me. So if I had all these settings done on the water, this is what you would do. This way you can get the best quality out of your Garmin units. It's different. There's not a lot to it, but this way, a lot of times you might have to restore factory settings. We just did it on mine. It scares me every time someone does that because we had them perfect, but it's all right since he's the one who did it. We're gonna go step by step on what we need to do to get your units working perfectly. So, all right, let's go. We'll go slow and y'all can see everything.
All right, so guys, this is straight out of the box. This is what your Livescope would come in, you know, as soon as it's been installed. We're gonna run through this. There's a lot of variations to how people do this, but this is the way that I will love to do it. And I mean, you can ask Todd, it's worked real well for him all year this year. So first off, range is always going to be variant depending on what you're doing, what your water depth is. You know, if you're crappie fishing, bass fishing, for guys like us, when we're bass fishing, we're going to run it, you know, 80, 90, 100, you know, depending on how far out we're trying to see these fish, how spooky they are, that sort of thing. Depth right here, want it off auto.
When we take it off of auto, the reason we're doing that is because, yes, you're going to have to go in there and as you change depths, you're going to have to like change it on there. I promise you, you would think it kind of gets annoying at times or it's too much trouble. You get used to it. It's just part of it, I promise you. And then next thing you know, it's just habit and it doesn't bother you one bit. So just trust me on that, because at first I was like, man, in the auto, I do not like the auto. So I promise you, once you change, that's what you want to do.
And even going back to the days when sonar first got real popular, you know, you always had to set your depths anyway then, and it's the same kind of thing. But so right now, you know, boat's sitting in about 22 or so foot. You know, you can see a little creek drop right here, some brush, some fish moving around. But about 5 or so foot below what your bottom is what you're going to get a good picture at. So right now we're at 30. That's going to look real good to start with. So we're going to come in here into the menu. We're going to first go down here to sonar setup. You're going to go to installation, and this is it's already set itself to forward because it was on auto. So we're going to go ahead and make sure it's locked into forward, because that's what mode we're in right now. And then we're going to go back. We're going to go right here to noise rejection. I like to run mine on high, and the reason being is it's going to filter out a lot of the dumb clutter, and you're able to turn your gain up really high to see what you want to see, and you'll see that here in just a minute. Ghost reject does a lot of weird things for me. I don't like it. I like it off. TVG, like it off. Now during the spring, when you start to get a lot of haze right up here in this corner of the screen, you might want to go to low with that, but right now you see this lake's really pretty and clean.
So is that more of a... What is that from? Is that just a dirty, or is that more or less?
It's a lot of pollen, you know, pollen okay. And that kind of thing. And if you get in a lake with a lot of sediment coming in from creeks and stuff like that, also you'll start to see that haze getting up here, and it'll block out a lot of stuff. So right now we're going to roll with it off. Appearance, I'm going to come right here to color gain first, and we're going to crank this bad boy up here to about 90. And you see how that just turned all this brighter here. That's going to help you distinguish your hard and light returns a lot better, brightens up your bait better, all that kind of stuff. So we're going to hit done here. So that's back to your full screen. You can kind of see what we're starting to work with here. Going to come back in here to set up again. So appearance, this is where you would set your color scheme for different things. We'll go over that a little bit more later.
We're going to have a whole bunch more videos and go in depth. We're going to try to work on that today. We're going to show you all what color gains do, how you can, basically there's a bunch of different things you can do. A lot of people like to run them for different reasons, sometimes in brush. A lot of people like to do a different color gain in brush if you're out deep, different things. So we're going to go over that. For right now though, we're going to keep this on what? Amber?
Yeah, we're going to keep it on amber right now. That's what your starting color is, and it's still a very, you know, popular color for a lot of people. I'm one of those guys. I run amber quite a bit myself. So we're going to leave it there for now. One thing I like to do, come here to layout. Most of the time, you're not going to be fishing a ton underneath your boat or behind your boat. So this reverse range right here, I like to go to minimum on it. It's just going to shrink this back a little bit up here in the corner. That's going to get you a better, you know, wider screen for seeing all of your data you're trying to see further out here on the end. So you see now, you got your bottom good and defined out here, and for 22 foot, you know, we're seeing it all the way out here to 85, 90. You know, you see your brush good here. You see a little bait down here twinkling in the bottom of the creek bed. So from there is where you start to play with your gain. Now, like I say, different strokes for different folks. Some guys like this screen here, really clean, not anything crazy going on. You can still see everything good. I'm one of those guys. I like it up here and a little bit trashy, because that makes it so much easier to pick out a fish that's locked on the bottom, pick out your fish in your brush, see your bait falling easier, all that kind of stuff. And that's just an opinion, but I'm telling you, give it a try.
That's how I have it. I try to run as much gain as possible as well. And here's the deal. Starting off, I don't like, he'll probably tell you the same thing. You can start off going as minimal as possible. You can kind of just get used to it. As you keep doing this, you'll start to realize, okay, yeah, I want to see further. I want to see better. We're showing you what we like to do. And I think over time, the first time I came out here, I didn't have as much gain. I was unsure of things. And then over time, I've gotten used to it, and I definitely like it better. I'm not a big fan of the grid. What about you?
Yeah, grid, it gets in the way for a lot of people.
Tell them what the grid is.
The grid is just your lines here that you see on your default settings. And that's going to show you, you know, your range lines for 30, 35, 40, you know, and your depth here, you know, 6, 8, 10, 12. And that's just for reference. A lot of guys start off with it on that are new to Livescope. That way they can see and judge ranges better. And they also judge fish sizes based on these boxes, you know, to know, okay, this is a 5 foot, you know, long box. So if I see something that fills that up, that's, you know, a gar or something along those lines. It's a huge fish. So we're going to go in here. Todd and I both don't really like it on, you know, now that we've been scoping for a while. It just takes up a little extra screen. We like it a little bit cleaner. So we're going to go here to menu. We're going to go sonar setup, and then head here to layout. And right here at the top, grid overlay. And you got a show right now. We want to hide that. And then now that takes it away there. And so now we're back to a clean screen. You still have your range line markers up here and your depth markers. You just don't have the boxes on here, so it's a little bit cleaner screen now.
I'll be honest with you guys. I'm always laughed because when I first got the Livescope, I just had one Garmin unit, and I always said, if someone ever messed that unit up, I wouldn't actually know how to get it back working right. Like, I didn't touch it for a year, putting it to a map or anything. I just used Livescope. So yeah, if someone wanted to be really mean, they could just go mess up my settings and I could never put them back. So this is, I will actually, so I don't have to call Taylor up, because if you ask Taylor, have I not? I've called Taylor like on the water going, hey, something's messed up and my settings are off. So this is great. And if I'm on the water, I can actually go to my own YouTube page and go back and listen to this and get my settings perfect again. Because it's hard to remember all this stuff. And to be honest with you, I don't want to remember. I just want it to get right and go on. Always go back to this. You can go, we did it real quick. We're going to be fast with all this stuff. So you can get it, see it, get your settings right, and then move on. Like I said, if you need to call Taylor, call up Jones Marine Electronics. Those guys will help you out. Him, Michael Yoder, Ladd, they're all up there willing to help. Call those guys up. They'll help you out. They have all these units as well. That's the thing. They have everything you need. Doesn't matter if it's Garmin or any other electronics. They have it all up there. They have everything up there. So like, call them up. They have what you need. Check them out. They're very helpful. This is why I'm working with them, man. Great guys. All right. Hope y'all enjoyed the video. See y'all.